Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and today we're going to be doing my December wrap-up. So as always, before we get into the books that I read, I am going to do some statistics from December. I'm going to try and do this a little bit quicker than I usually do because I don't want this video to get too long, and I've read more books in the second half than I did in the first half, so I just don't want it to drag on. Okay, so statistics, I read 26 books total in December. Pretty good. I thought I was in a slump, and then I realized that I'd read 26 books, which is pretty good, if not even a little better than average for me, that I was like, oh, I guess I wasn't in a slump. But I felt like I was reading so slowly. It was a total of 7,071 pages and 199.5 hours of audio. All were romance, not unusual. I had 24 audiobooks and 2 ebooks. 25 were adult and 1 was new adult. And I had 2 rereads that contributed to the 5 stars. My average rating was 4.2, which was really good. I had 8 5 stars, 4 4.5 stars, 9 4 stars, 2 3.5 stars, 2 3 stars, and 1 2.5 star. So overall, pretty good stats. I feel very good about that. As for the books that I read, the first book that I read in the second half of December was The Geek Who Saved Christmas, one of the only Christmas romances that I read in December. I got it on Hoopla. It is an Grumpy Sunshine, older characters romance. They are neighbors and they haven't really gotten along for the time that they've been neighbors because one of them is kind of grumpy and around the Christmas season, and the other one is like super into the Christmas season, and he's always like helping out in the town and being like really involved, and the other hero is like not. He does not care. He's like, stay out of my business. I don't want to be in your business. And so he's like the only one that doesn't put Christmas lights up on his house though. And so the neighbor, who's sunshiny, really wants to put Christmas lights up on the neighbor's house. So they end up sort of forming this like friendship and this plan because the grumpy neighbor, his younger brother, is coming to visit after a long time of being away. And the younger brother thinks that he is sunshiny. He thinks that he loves Christmas still, and so he has to like kind of put on a show for his younger brother to make it feel like Christmas. It was okay. I didn't mind it. I had a good, enjoyable time reading it. Not a favorite, but I would still recommend it. It was fun and cute. Then I read Psycho by Onley James. This one is book 2 in the Necessary Evils, and it's the Necessary Evils series. The first book's called Unhinged, and if you don't know, I did not like the first book. I think I gave it 3 stars. I didn't like it. It was not for me, but I liked the romance in the first one. Wasn't for me, but because I liked the overarching plot line of the okay. I'm explaining this terribly. Okay, so Psycho is book 2 in the Necessary Evils series. Book 1 is Unhinged, and the series is about a group of psychopaths who were all adopted by a billionaire who is running this like psychology project on them, where he has trained them to be killers but to only kill bad guys. And so I did not enjoy the first one, which was called Unhinged. I didn't like the romance. I didn't really care about the characters at all. Like the main characters, the two characters, I don't even remember their names. I did not care about them whatsoever. I didn't like their romance. But in that book, the reason why I did give it 3 stars is because I enjoyed the idea of the plot of the billionaire who adopts all of these all of these boys with psychopathic tendencies to create them into killers. And I wanted to see if the reason why I didn't like the first one was just because of the romance style in the first one, and if the second one would have characters that I actually enjoyed. And I did. It did. I'm very glad that I read the second one, even though I didn't like the first one, because I ended up really, really liking Psycho, which is the second one. Psycho follows a different one of the brothers to the first one. This one is following August, who is the one who is crazy, he disposes of the bodies, I think, and he has autistic tendencies, and he is kind of a genius, and he was much more likable to me than the psychopath in the first one, whose name I think was Adam. I think his name was Adam. So Adam kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like him. He didn't seem enjoyable to me. I didn't care about him at all. August, I loved. I really, really loved the way he acted, the way he pursued the love interest, because these books are very, I see you and I need you. I see you and I want you and you are now mine. They are very insta-love, and they remind me similarly to a paranormal romance where you have that insta-love, you have like a mate feeling where you look at them and you know that they're yours. And the psychopaths in these books have that sort of vibe. They're psychopaths, so they don't feel love, but they have that, I need to protect that person. That person is mine. And while I did not like the way that played out in the first book, I really liked this one. And I think the part of the thing that I liked this one was one, I liked August's personality so much better than I liked Adam's personality. And 2, I really, really loved the storyline in this one much more than the first one. This one had the love interest of August's name was Lucas, and he was a retired FBI agent had left the FBI because he was also he was clairvoyant, and he could touch something and see the imprints of the person who owned it, kind of thing, or the memories or ideas or thoughts that were left behind by the last person who touched that item. And so it made him a really good FBI agent until people found out about it, and then they thought he was crazy, and they kind of sent him to they sent him away, and he wasn't allowed to be really an FBI agent anymore. So he left the FBI, and he's now a professor at the same school that August is a professor at. And August, when Lucas first touches August, Lucas immediately knows that he's a killer. And August knows in his eyes that that Lucas knows. So August can tell that Lucas knows, and so he believes in his clairvoyance and his psychic ability and all this stuff. And the way that they interact, and the way that August kind of convinces Lucas that he isn't just a cold-blooded killer, and that Lucas, because of his time in the FBI and because of what he's dealing with, which is that he knows that one of his former colleagues, an FBI agent, is a serial killer, he can tell sort of the difference of not everything's black and white. You can't just kind of follow the rules every time. Cutting through the red tape by jumping to the end is kind of the best way to do it at sometimes. And I really, really liked the plot line of this one, and them going after this person in the FBI that Lucas knew was a killer because of his clairvoyance. I thought it was so much more interesting and so much more thought out than the first one. But overall, I really, really liked this one. And I will definitely read the third one because I'm so, so glad that I read the second one, even though I didn't like the first one, because I'm really intrigued to see how it goes because, and that's something that I really love about romance series that follow different people, is that I can't just entirely write off the series because I didn't like the first one, because the second one's an entirely different story because it follows different people. Okay, that was a really long rant, but I really liked Psycho. The next book that I read was the novella in the Colchester University hockey series, which is called See You in Boston. This was an MM novella written by Ian Finley and Saxon James, who wrote the Colchester University series, and it followed two characters that were introduced in the Colchester series who have now graduated and are working at the same internship in Boston. And they fall in love. Then I did a reread of The Second and His Bonded by Kiki Clark. This book made my top favorites of 2021, so that video will be linked above or in the description box below. So if you want to see my full thoughts on that, you can go see it there. It's very hard to explain because it is the second in the series, and I would recommend reading the first one. But I absolutely love it. I gave it 5 stars and needed to reread it. So glad that I did. Then I read The Wrong Game by Candy Steiner, I think is who wrote this. I did not like this. I think I gave this book 3 stars. This book is about a woman who knows that she finds out that her husband is cheating on her, and she makes this whole plan to leave him. She like rents an apartment, and she gets ready to file for divorce before she actually files for divorce, before she tells him that she knows he's having an affair. But then when she sits down to tell him that she knows he's having an affair and that she's leaving him, he tells her first that he's dying of terminal cancer and that he's only got like a couple months to live. So in this situation, I would not have done what this woman did, which is that she entirely suffered her own mental health and like destroyed her own mental health to protect her cheating husband in his dying months. I do not think that that was the right decision. I don't like it. I don't like the way it impacts the way her relationships goes in this book, because this book is about her having, her best friend thinks she needs to get back out there. Her husband's died now. She needs to get back out there, and she is like scarred by men because they cheat on her, and she thought her husband was going to be like there until the end. She had this idea that her and her husband were going to be together forever, and she's like scarred by the fact that he went and cheated on her, and now she's like, I don't trust men. Which I sort of get. I mean, like, I get you don't trust them because it happened to you, but she's even more scarred because she stayed with him and she never told him that she knew he was cheating on her. She never told anyone that she knew he was cheating on her except for her best friend. And the way that her mental health suffered for that, I don't think was worth making her husband feel better in his dying days. Also, he had this mistress. Like, it's not like he cheated on her once. He had like a woman that he cheated on her with repeatedly, and they went away on vacation together. And I was like, and this woman showed up to the funeral and sat in the back. And I was like, I would have just told my husband, like, I would have like said like, oh, the mistress can deal with it kind of thing. Like, I don't think she should have been like mean to him, but sympathetic of his diagnosis. But suffering through that in silence when you're destroying you internally, I don't think was something that was the right choice. And I did not like the book because of that. Then I read both Play and Lead from the Stage Dive series. This is a Rockstar series by Kylie Scott. I read Lick in the first half of the month, so go watch that. But these are Rockstar romances that feature, each book follows a different member of the band Stage Dive. The first book, Lick, that I read in the first half of the month followed the lead singer, I believe, and then the second one follows the drummer named Mal, who fake dates a woman because he has reasons. I don't want to spoil them, but he has a reason, so he decides to fake date a woman, and then they end up falling in love. And then the third one follows lead singer, and the lead singer and the lead guitarist are brothers. So the third one that follows Jimmy is, I think, actually my favorite. He is a recovering addict. He just got out of rehab, and he has this like babysitter basically to keep him stable and keep him away from drugs and alcohol. And he has a romance with her. And I really loved Jimmy. So I think he was my favorite. But I really, really like this series, and I'm definitely going to read the last one. It does have the last one does have a trope that I don't like, so I didn't read it this month, or I didn't read it in December, but I do still want to read that one. Then I read both Dark Instincts and Savage Urges, continuing in the Phoenix Pack series, or the Phoenix Wolves series by Suzanne Wright. It's book 4 and 5. I am making my way through these. Dark Instincts, I gave 5 stars. This one follows Ronnie and Marcus. Marcus is an enforcer for the Phoenix Pack, and Ronnie is the sister of the Alpha and also an enforcer of the Mercury Pack. And the Mercury Pack and the Phoenix Pack are allies. And Ronnie has had very traumatic things happen to her in her past. Marcus I love, and he was very stoic and didn't really talk a lot. He's very powerful, and he just kind of like shows his power in silence. And Ronnie is also extremely powerful, very lethal, very connected to her wolf form, and they it's a fated mates romance, and they realize they're mates. And then Savage Urges is book 5, and that one follows McKenna, who is a lone shifter, and her finding out that she is the mate of Ryan, who is another enforcer in the Phoenix Pack. So that one was really interesting because it introduced a lot of new characters, because it was dealing with a lone shifter home. So basically it was kind of like a homeless shelter for lone shifters to go to and be safe. And the book connects McKenna and Ryan because McKenna finds Ryan's cousin, who is a lone shifter. He is a young teenager, and he's a lone shifter, and she connects him with Ryan, who didn't know that he was around, basically didn't even know he existed. And I enjoyed this one. Also, I gave it 4 stars, really liked it. Then I read Walking in a Witchy Wonderland by Juliet Cross. This is a anthology, each following a different sister in the Stay a Spell series. So it's each following a different Savoie sister, and I really enjoyed this. Gave it 4 stars. It was good little novellas for each of the sisters, and I think it sets up book 4 really well. I read Swan Song, which is Gianna Darling's novella in 12 Naughty Days, the anthology, and I really wanted to love this one. I didn't really love this one. I gave it 4 stars. I wish there was a little bit more romance in it. It was a short story for Curtains, who I love Curtains in the Fallen Men series, and I really wanted it to be more, and it was not as much romance as I would have liked. Then I read Sweet Talk by Cara Bastone. This is the follow-up book to Call Me Maybe by Cara Bastone. They are made for audio, Audible originals, and they have a lot of sound effects and everything going on. They talk on the phone a lot, so you have like the sound effects from the phone and the cars honking as they walk down the streets. It was very interesting, very fun, and I think I liked Call Me Maybe more, but I still really love this one and gave it 5 stars. So that is all of the books that I read in December. It was a good way to close out 2021. I feel very successful with the end of year statistics that I have. I do think I'm going to make a video for my end of year statistics. I was going to include it in this one, but I don't want it to be too long, so I'll probably just make a very short video about my end of year statistics, and I'll put it up after this. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like if you liked it, and subscribe so I can see you in my next one. Hope you have a great day.